start this out with just like a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. In my own experience, right? It's like if you look at the incentives of doctors and PTs, it's like they aren't really incentivized to get you back out there like as soon as possible. And they don't really understand, I guess, like the playing career like timeline, right? So the way they define a successful rehab is just you being back in game, right? So Trey, like with your torn labrum, if you were ever, 88, 90, and the Orioles put you back in a game, they would literally mark that down on their sheet as a successful rehab because you're like physically playing the game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you and I both know, like with you being up to 98, that would be an absolute catastrophe. Like that is the most failed rehab of all time. Like this guy is physically not even playing the game the same way he was before. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't even be
Yeah.
enjoyable. And so understanding the differences in like how PTs and doctors label a successful rehab versus how you would label a successful rehab. And then on that same token, kind of understanding that they're not incentivized to push you in any meaningful fashion, right? So they're kind of, if they were to mess up your rehab and get labeled as the PT or doctor that like does bad surgeries or re-blows guys out, right? Like, oh, my PT like re-blew me out. Like that's like a death sentence for them PT wise. And I'm sure there's like a lot of like insurance implications and things like that. Like we're gonna stop sending we're not gonna pay for insurance for this guy to go to this PT because we've had to pay for two other surgeries to get redone, right? So there's just like a lot of like money and things like that. So they're actually incentivized to just like string you along on this very long timeline because it's the safest possible thing. So like you coming back from labrum, you could probably get on the mound and throw 95 again in 6 months, like I did. But there's like a 95% chance that would go okay. Or if you wait 3 more months, there's like a 99% chance, right? So it's like they were talking like very minor percentage points of like you just waiting longer is kind of like what they're incentivized to do just because it is such a bad look for them to have a guy get rehurt.